Everybody, and this video I'll show you how to create a hover effect. So when you hover over an element, it disappears, or you can change any other property you want. Probably you already know how to create this thing, but I'll also show you how to apply this element to a pair of elements. So when you hover over one of them, the second one changes. I'll show you how to apply this effect to a real website. For example, this is another website of mine, and check this white space. So when I hover over this number, I can see a small hint like, well, it said flying garbage, because if I click this button, it literally triggers flying garbage. But the point is that when I hover over this number, I can see this hint, and you can apply this effect to any elements, whether it's text or images or whatever. So I'll show you I show you how to do that using this simple example. I use just 3 images, but you could actually do it with whatever you want. This is a completely blank page. So I'm gonna start from the beginning, and I've already uploaded some images here, so I'm just gonna drag them and drop. And let me organize them using this grid panel here. Like that. So now they are placed all in a row. Let me save it and open my code view. Here, this is actually the grid thing, and all we need here is this objects, like image 1, image 2, and image 3 is our objects. And we need to wrap them into tags and give them IDs. So let's start with the first one. I open my tag like div and ID, let's say 1. And I also need to close this tag. So at the end, I need to type div like that. So I'm gonna copy this part and paste it here, change it to 2. And also I need to close this tag div. And I'm gonna do the same for this one, 3. And close it. So everything is ready. If I save that, you will see no visible changes, because we haven't made any changes. We just reorganize this code and create IDs for these elements. And to make this effect work like for a pair of element, we need some JavaScript. So you need to open the new tag called script. And we also need to close it. So, and our script is going to be inside. And the first thing we need to do here is to create a new variable. Let's say var, and let's give it a name, like object. You can give it another name, it doesn't really matter. And then we need to define which element to select. Our object is going to be a number 2. So this is an object which is going to change when we trigger, when we hover over another element. Object document dot get element. Note that this letter is capital. Element by ID, and the ID of this element is 2. So now we created our variable using ID. So now we know that our variable is this image. And then we need to create a function using this variable. Let's say function. The name of the function is going to be show. You can name it however you want. So also open and close tag, and let's say object. And now we are using the same name we used here. So yeah, to make changes. Object style. That's how we define that we're gonna make changes into its style. And what exactly is going to be changed, we need to type here directly after style comma. And in our case, it's going to be opacity. Opacity equals 1. So when it is shown, opacity equals 1. This is pretty simple function, and let's copy this function and create pretty similar one, which is gonna be called hide, and change this number into 0. So this last thing we need to do is to create a trigger, or to like make something to start this function. For this we need to type document. And let's define our trigger. Get element by ID. And now ID is going to be 1. So we literally call our first element 1. And then here we need to define what's going to happen. Add event listener, and our event is going to be mouse over. Comma, and it's going to trigger the function hide. So like when mouse is over this element, like in our case it's just element with ID 1, so it's going to be this image, the function hide is gonna start playing. So and also let's copy this part and do the same thing, but with some small changes, like show function, and event is going to be not mouse over but mouse out. Okay, if everything correct, I think it's gonna work. So let me save it. Yeah, everything is fine. And let me check. Yeah, now when I hover over this element, the second element changes its opacity. So now when mouse is over this circle, we see how function hide works, and now we see function show works again. So that's how it works. And let me show you how to create a hover effect for this third circle. It's gonna be pretty easy. You can go to your design panel and open your CSS editor, and now we need to call this element once again. So we gave this element ID 3. So yeah, that's how we will define all elements using this hashtag, like free. Then you need to add hover, and everything which is gonna be like here is gonna be changes when you hover this element. Let's say opacity 0. So when we hover over this element, its opacity changed to 0, like that. Let me actually refresh this page, so you will see that it works. Yeah. Now you know how to create hover effects. You also can change other style properties, not only opacity, and you can apply it to the element itself, which is pretty easy. And you also can apply it to another elements using JavaScript, like here. Thank you for watching, and let me know into comments what sort of videos you are interested in, or what should I create for you next time. Goodbye.